Hi, Scott Orlin with CINEMA-Magazin. A new film coming your way is called Judas and the Black Messiah. And I'm here with one of the stars of the film, Daniel Kaluuya. Fred Hampton, I grew up, I definitely had an introduction about who I thought the Black Panthers were, but I never knew this guy. Why has he been kind of kept out of our history?
Possibly for the same reason he was murdered. It was that he had strategies and ideas and concepts that were about empowering the people and taking everyone taking care of one another. And he had this amazing knack of joining and uniting people that had different values and different outlooks and bringing them together for one cause. So I think that's possibly something that is not advised and wanted in the mainstream society.
One of the aspects of his persona was his charisma in front of a crowd. I mean, he knew how to kind of inspire people. And I was just wondering, have you ever been in a situation where you've had to like stand in front of a crowd and articulate your thoughts and try and get them on board?
Have I been in this? I mean, I've been in. I've done it in plays, but that's not me because I'm saying someone else's words. But I think so. I think probably one day on set, I've had to like galvanize or kind of say something at a very young age. Or when I was in a writer's room one time, I had to kind of get people onto an idea. I think that's one time I did it there.
What's really sad about watching this unfold is how timely it is to today, where you still have the government going after people that they politically or socially disagree with and what they're willing to do to knock them down.
Yeah. It's something that keeps on happening.
What did you learn about Fred? I mean, his family still is around. I know his wife and his son. Did they give you any behind the scenes insight into him?
No, not necessarily. No, I think they kind of, when we sat down with them, they respected our creative space and they understood that we was doing an interpretation of that fitted this narrative that we were telling. But it was just a blessing to have them on board and to have them supporting the film and supporting us. And they did give us a lot of knowledge in between filming and activating us in a real way.
What did you learn about the Black Panthers that maybe you didn't know? I mean, obviously not growing up in the United States, having kind of that history with them. What did you appreciate what they were trying to represent?
Yeah, I mean, what they tried to represent, what they represented really spoke to me. And what I really, I was aware of, but it really came into focus was how much they gave to their own communities. You know, how much they were on the front line on their communities, feeding kids who couldn't afford food, educating young children, and healing the sick in their community, and uniting disenfranchised communities within the larger community. That really hit home, and that differs from I believe, the erroneous and agendered perception that they were radical in a certain sense.
I love the fact that if I remember the movie correctly, that he didn't drive, and so he always had to have somebody drive him around. So I was wondering what your relationship is to that. I mean, now that you're being famous, sometimes people drive you around. Do you like that experience?
Do I like being driven? Sometimes. I'm like that guy that goes, "Oh no, turn here." I watch what they're doing with the sat nav a bit too much, so I kind of can't really rest and just enjoy the ride. But I'm learning. I'm figuring that out.
And if I could take you back to the late 1960s for a day, what is it about that era that would be intriguing to you? Or, I mean, was it the fashion, the music? Was there something about the late 1960s that's enticing?
The mindset, the fact that people were sharing and ideas and concepts and perspectives and books, and it was less micromanaged. There was no social media, there was no internet. It felt like people owned their minds more. and more where it was kind of like it looked for me while looking at stuff, it was an era of awakening, a real awakening, and I find that fascinating.
And you got to rock a beret, which doesn't happen very often. So
no, it's the first time I've worn a beret. Yeah, it's amazing. What a privilege.
You made it work. Daniel, the film is called Judas and the Black Messiah, and this is Scott. Till next time.
Big up, Scott.